Hi, I quite often get asked by customers just to change a fuse wire. It's a fairly simple thing to do on your own, as long as you're careful. To show you how to do this, I've just made this short video. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how to change the fuse wire on one of these types of fuses. This is the old-fashioned rewirable type of fuse. This particular fuse itself is a 30 amp fuse. This is indicated by the red carrier and the red dots on. Also, you'll see on the front of the fuse itself, it will actually say 30 amp. If you've got any other types of fuses like this in your fuse box, they'll normally either be in a blue carrier with blue dots, that'll be a 15 amp, or in a white carrier with white dots, there'll be a 5 amp. But as I said, for this particular video, this is a 30 amp fuse, so we're going to use the appropriate fuse wire, which will be 30 amp. They normally come on a sheet like this. When you buy the sheet, there'll be the 3 different types of fuse wires on there. You'll have the 5 amp, the 15 and the 30. What you need to do when you take your fuse out is pull out any old remnants of fuse wire which are left in there. You'll have 2 little screws at either end of the actual fuse itself. You need to unscrew these, make sure these are fairly loose. And then basically, as I said, pull out any old remnants that are in here, make sure it's all nice and clean, ready to take the new fuse wire. What you then need to do is get an appropriate length of fuse wire. Just work out roughly how much you're going to need. Cut off the appropriate length. If we just cut this piece off here. Make sure it's fairly straight, because you do need to feed it through small holes, and if it's not straight at the ends it will snag. So basically make sure it's as straight as you can get it. Now on the fuse itself, next to the holes, the screw, sorry, you'll see these 2 little holes. These are the holes that are actually going to hold the fuse wire in place. These are where you're supposed to correctly terminate it. What you need to do is undo the screws, as I said earlier. Not all the way out, just enough so you can actually get the fuse wire into the small hole. Put one end into the first hole, push down firmly to hold it in place, and then gently do up the screw so it bites onto the fuse wire. Don't over tighten it, because fuse wire is soft and we don't want to crush it so it actually breaks again. But just do it up enough so it actually bites onto the fuse wire. As you can see, that one is nice and tight, it's actually holding it in place. Pull the fuse wire as straight as you can get it. Turn the fuse on its side, you'll see a small hole here. This is where you need to thread the other end of the fuse wire. Hopefully if it's nice and straight, it will go straight through the fuse carrier itself, which this one has, and out the other side. Pull it nice and tight, and you'll see there that the fuse wire has bent over the little piece of brass and is nice and snug inside the carrier. What you then need to do is work out the appropriate length that you're going to need. Just bend it over the end of the carrier and cut it to the appropriate length, ready to go in the small hole. We cut it about there. Again, make sure this screw is undone. You'll need to bend, it's a little bit fiddly this, bend the last piece of fuse wire over, push it into the hole to get a nice tight fit. Put a bit of pressure on it with your finger, hold it nice and tight in place. Then do up the screw. Again, don't over tighten it, just enough to bite on the end. Push it down gently, make sure it's nice and snug. And there you go, that's all in position, ready to be put into the carrier on the fuse box. What you'll see sometimes people do is actually wrap the fuse wire around the screw. You shouldn't actually do that, because sometimes the fuse wire will actually stick out the end, and sometimes if you're about to pull the fuse out itself, the little frayed ends you can actually catch your finger on, which you're more susceptible to electric shock that way. So if you terminate it properly like this, you shouldn't have any problems. So there's your new fuse, all ready to go back into the carrier on the fuse board, just like so. Thanks very much.